Have you ever looked at your apprenticeship standards and thought, what on earth does that actually mean? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to crack the code on a really big one for any associate project manager, Skill S21, working within a budget. And we're going to do it by following the story of an apprentice, just like you, as she goes from totally confused to completely confident. Let's dive in.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with our apprentice and the challenge she's facing. Then we'll unpack the skill with a super simple analogy. You'll see. After that, we'll follow her journey as she develops her skills, builds her evidence portfolio, and finally gets ready to ace her final assessment. This is your roadmap to getting this skill down cold. So let's meet Jody. She's a Level 4 Associate Project Manager Apprentice over at Ivy Stores, maybe even a fellow Kent Business College student. And look, she's great at her job, but all that dense, formal language in her apprenticeship standard, it's just got her feeling completely lost.
This is the question just running on a loop in her head. It sounds so straightforward, doesn't it? But what does it actually mean for you day to day? You know, how do you take that one sentence and turn it into something you can actually do, and more importantly, prove you've done it to pass your assessment? It's a feeling I bet a lot of you can relate.
So, feeling pretty stuck, Jody does the smart thing and goes to her mentor, Adam. Now, Adam gets it. He knows that throwing more jargon at her isn't going to help. What she needs is a way to connect this big, scary concept to something, well, something simple. And he has a brilliant analogy that's about to make everything click. But before we get to that, let's just look at the official wording. Skill S21 is about supporting effective cost control. That word supporting is so important. You see, you're not the one creating the budget, but you are a critical part of the team that monitors spending, spots when things go off track, and makes sure all the financial rules are being followed. So the big takeaway here? It's all about control, not creation. And this, right here, is Adam's genius analogy. He says, Jody, just think of the project budget like it's a recipe for a cake. Your job isn't to invent the recipe, it's already been approved. Your job is to follow it. Cost tracking, that's just you checking your ingredients against the shopping list. And a variance? Well, that's that moment you realize, uh-oh, we're out of flour, or the chocolate costs way more than we thought. And escalation? That's simple. You don't just guess and throw something else in. You go tell the head baker immediately. See? Suddenly it all just clicks into place.
So why is following this recipe so important? Well, because you are the first line of defense. You're the one keeping an eye on the details, and that keeps the whole project financially healthy. Your work stops the project from going over budget. It helps your bosses make smart decisions, and it even protects the company's reputation. It's all about accountability and making sure every penny is being spent the right way, which is absolutely essential for things like governance and audits.
Okay, so now Jody's armed with this new baking mindset. She's ready to stop worrying about the theory and actually start putting it into practice. Let's watch how she does this on a real marketing campaign at Ibis Stores, with a little help from her line manager, Riddle. Now look, Jody doesn't just get thrown in at the deep end. Her development is a really clear, logical journey. It all starts with just watching and understanding. Then she starts doing it herself, but with Riddle there to guide her. Pretty soon, she's flying solo, tracking invoices with confidence. And then comes the real test. She spots a variance, one of those ingredient problems, and has to explain it. The final piece of the puzzle? She takes everything she's learned and applies it to a totally different project. That is how you build real competence. Now, doing the work is one thing, but proving you did it, that's the name of the game when it comes to passing your apprenticeship. And this is where her coach, Olivia, comes in. Olivia's job is to help Jody take all that amazing hands-on experience and turn it into solid, powerful evidence for her Aptin portfolio. So what is an assessor actually looking for? I'll tell you what they're not looking for. They don't want to hear that you just watched somebody else. They need to see proof that you took action. We're talking about the actual cost trackers that you updated, the status reports that you had a hand in writing, and this is a big one, those anonymized emails where it was you who flagged a problem. Then you wrap it all up with a reflective account that says, here's what I did and here's why I did it. Just look at how specific this is. This is a little piece from Jody's actual reflective account. She doesn't just say, I found an issue. No, she says what it was, a 150-pound overspend. She says how she found it by comparing the invoice to the tracker, and she details the exact action she took, emailing her manager with the proof attached. That is what amazing evidence looks like. It tells a complete story. Okay, the portfolio's looking strong. It is time for the final boss, the endpoint assessment, or the EPA. Jody's coach Olivia shifts gears now.
It's all about prepping Jyoti for that professional discussion and the types of questions the independent assessor is definitely going to ask.
So, one of the first questions you're probably going to get is a nice open one like this. They're not looking for every single detail here. They want a quick, clear summary of your role and what your main responsibilities were. Think of it as the introduction to your budgeting story. Next up, they're going to start digging into the details. What tools did you use? This is where you have to be specific. Don't just say a spreadsheet. Say, I used the company's Excel cost tracker template, or I contributed to the financial section of the weekly status report. The more precise you are, the more credible you sound.
Now this question is all about your problem-solving skills. This is your chance to bring up that 150-pound overspend story. You talk them through your process. I was comparing the actuals against the forecast, and I spotted a discrepancy. Then you explain how you followed the procedure, telling the head baker. This shows you don't just find problems, you know how to handle them.
And finally, this is such a critical question. They need to know that you understand your own authority, or lack thereof. The answer here is about showing you know the rules. You can't just approve extra spending yourself. You have to follow the company's financial procedures. This proves you're a responsible, trustworthy member of the team.
So what's the secret weapon for answering all of these questions perfectly? It's a simple little framework called the STAR method. For any question they throw at you, just structure your answer like this. First, describe the situation. Then explain the task you were given. Next, detail the specific action you took. And finally, explain the result of your action. Honestly, it is a game changer for giving clear, confident, evidence-based answers every single time. And of course, Jyoti nailed her EPA. She took this really confusing standard, used a simple analogy to understand it, and then followed a clear path to build her skills and her evidence. She turned something that caused her a ton of anxiety into a real skill she can be proud of. So let's wrap this up with the key things you need to remember for your journey. When you strip it all away, mastering this skill really comes down to these 4 simple actions. You track the spending, you report what's happening, you escalate problems the right way, and you comply with the rules. If you can do those 4 things, and more importantly, prove you can do them, you've pretty much mastered this skill. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge, a question. You don't have to wait for someone to hand you this responsibility. What's the first, simple, proactive thing you can do at work tomorrow to start your journey? How about just asking to see the budget for the project you're on? Go on, be like Jyoti. Your path to mastery can start right now.